Okay, we are going to review a little bit on DataWrapper and web mapping, but we're going to try to set up a few more bells and whistles and see if we can do a website that would replicate the JHU coronavirus site. So to start off, we're going to find the JHU data by going JHU, COVID, and GitHub. And so we have this COVID series confirmed US. Let's do deaths. I'm feeling a little macabre. So we're going to do deaths here because we already did the confirmed cases. And it's going to bounce over here. We're going to click raw because that's going to give us the link to the CSV data. And we could cut and paste this, but we're just going to Control C. And we're going to cut and paste the link back over into Excel. Go to Data, from Web, we're going to paste the deaths in there, and OK. And that's pretty quick. So we have all of these various areas where we have deaths. I'm going to click Load. And then we have these cases here that I want to get rid of, American Samoa, Virgin Islands, etc. Not that I don't like them, but I don't want them on the map. And I'm going to end over and end down to get all of the cases here. I will Control C and File and New and paste values. All right, so now I have my FIPS. I have all of these lovely things, and I have the deaths going out to kind of forever for everywhere in the United States. And as I've said before, there's really nothing happening until 3/17 in the terms of cases. So I'm going to come over here to BO and slide across because this is a fairly large data set. And I'm going to delete all of those just because I don't want the data size. And so this is the base data set that we're going to work with to create the files that we will use in our mapping. This has our latitude and longitude, and so those are the values that we can use if we want to make a map, which we will do, make a map for the whole country. And then we will also do a few other things to add some bells and whistles, some graphs of totals and things like that, total number of cases and that. So that will help us. We're going to do that right now. We'll create a total deaths for the whole country by date, I hope. And oh, we have to come to the bottom, and they have some weird unassigns here. We have all these zeros that we'd like to get rid of in the latitudes and longitudes. Do we want to get rid of those? Actually, probably not, because they're deaths that are just unassigned and they belong. Are there very many of them? Is it worth keeping them? Nah, there's very, very few. So something that's not going to affect the numbers, I'm happy to get rid of, just so we have a more consistent data set. And when we try to map it and do totals and things like that, it doesn't give us fairly serious issues. All right. And some of these are weirdish counties without FIPS, but as long as they have lats and longs, we can map them. All right, so we've cleaned up our data set a little bit here. We've done some work, so I'm going to save that, and I'm going to call it new JHU. I will make this available on the Moodle site, so you can just download it if you don't have the web speed to get to the JHU site and download it, or if the pivot tables and other things we're doing here are somewhat problematic. So I'm going to come here and click on the M and insert, and I'm going to put a total deaths here. and equal sum. And that's my sums. I'm going to need this for mapping. This is just to give you some Excel stuff. If you don't really want to do the Excel stuff, then we can go. So this is giving me zeros, which is leading me to think something is wrong. So these have been brought in as text. So you see these little green triangles? We have to select this whole thing. This is one of the problems of bringing data in off the web and that sort of thing, is sometimes it's not the style you'd like. So you got to select it and then come to this drop down and convert to numbers, and it'll take a couple minutes, but it'll convert everything to numbers, and then they will plot like numbers. It wouldn't have mattered if we saved it as CSV, it would have come back in. That's going to, like I said, it's going to take a minute, so I'm going to pause while it spins. Okay, it's done, so we're going to do the same thing that we did before. Sorry, quick phone call, I have to edit that out. So I want to click where on the first row and insert, because we have to go back and change this date into the date. And again, we're going to use the equal, quote, date, underscore, quote, ampersand, text, N2, comma, and then in quotes again, we're going to do underscore dd underscore yy. Let's hope that works. And there we go. So it gives us our date and what it is, and then something we can separate it on later. Slashes create a problem. We'll do Control C when we've got that down there. Come all the way back to our start. We'll click here and go to paste and values, because if we don't do that when we delete it, then it will muck up. So now we have our dates, we have our populations, we have our total deaths, we have our all of this, and we're kind of ready to map. And so we're going to do the first mapping here of just the locations and the total deaths at this point. So I'm going to make this a small file to upload. We do N down. So I'm just going to select these locations and the total death, and I'm going to do Control C, File New, and Control V. Oops, Control Z, and paste, and values again. So I end up with all my values there. I have my lats and my longs. I have my combined key, so I know where it is. I have the population and the total deaths. This is all I need for my first map. So we're going to do File, Save As. I'm going to put it in download so it's at least consistent with where we were. We're going to change that to a CSV. I'm using the one for PC because that's what I'm on. And we're going to call this JHU deaths underscore 5 underscore 7 to remind me what date it is. All right, all finished with that. We're going to then bounce over to, whoops, our DataWrapper. If you don't have it open, go to the DataWrapper in My Charts. I'm going to add a subfolder here, and I'm going to call that subfolder JHU, just to help me remind what it is. And now I'm in that. All right, so I'm going to create one now for a chart. I'm going to select an XLS CSV. And grab my JHU deaths. Yours might be someplace else depending on your file structure. Takes a little while. I'm going to sneeze over. So we have that. It looks good. And it's giving me a chart. So yeah, let's go ahead and finish a chart here. And I'm going to do a scatter plot. Okay, it's plotting latitude and longitude. We're going to do population and total deaths. Okay, so clearly there's some relationship. I missed something. Oh, it's plotting the latitude as the title there. We probably should have something else on there. Sorry, done coughing. So we're going to go from, we're going to click on annotate, and labeling here, we're going to do combined key, so it tells us where it is, at least those outliers, so we know what they are. All right, and we see Los Angeles, which is bigger than New York, far fewer cases. Guess more Italians in New York might be it, and we'll put a title on this, and we are going to say population It's a little slow. All right, so there we go, and we have that chart. We're done with that at this point. We could do more than that if we want, and but I'm just going to go to publish in bed because I think you can play with this as an exercise, and then we will publish that chart. It's going to take a minute, and I'm going to copy that URL. Okay, because we're going to use this in our box a little bit later. And I'm going to go back to my Excel file here, my other Excel file, the new JHU, and over here I'm going to put a sheet, and I'm going to call it links. Okay, and so I remember what this is. This is the scatter plot. All right, so let's go back over. We want to make one more chart, and then I'm going to end this video because it's been going on for a long time. We are now going to go new map. And we're going to do dots because that's the JHU style, or the old one. We'll do a choropleth map later, and I'm not going to do world. Maybe I should type in USA. USA counties 2018, because it's going to show us the counties, something to put our dots on. We're going to add our data. Import that data set again. We're going to grab our JHU deaths again, and we're going to match that as latitude. And then there should be a next. We're going to match that as longitude. Next. And we have data to plot. That's a lot of data. All right, so we're going to say I'm going to pause because I hit back too many times. All right, so I hit forward so I could go to refine. Typing in with this many data points is a slow process right now with whatever speed it's giving me, but I'm going to do total deaths as the size. All right, and I might want to take my maximum size down a little bit. Although it is probably a pretty accurate representation, so I take my size down a little bit. I'm going to slide down here and make them red because they're deaths, and deaths are scary things. And I'm going to set my tooltip. I'm going to put the combined key there, and population and total deaths, and save. A little bit slow, but there we are. We have a map. Turning the background dark in that is doable over here in design, and well, we're going to leave it as is. We can play with this more later, but we have that there. Oh, let's go back to annotate and change our title. This is the easy place to change it. It will actually let us do it here. And we're going to put in Corona virus deaths May 5th, 2020. And now we can publish and embed. And this is going to take a minute. Oh, that was actually quicker than I thought. I'm going to copy that link location and come put it in my links. And this is the map. All right, so we have a scatter plot and a map. Time to end this.